And we need the Foreign Secretary to come to the Chamber to explain why his private comments are different from his public comments. It appears that allegedly pursuing an unethical foreign policy. He wants to do deals with countries who don't care about their people. For example, Myanmar, and I'm sure the leader would have been shocked by the image of a nun standing in front of the army, pleading with them not to shoot at the protesters. 90 people have died. It's no point in just doing it with having sanctions against a few generals. We want it against all the generals. I don't know if the leader has seen pictures of the Myanmar parliament, but they sit there in a block, unaccountable, sometimes not even moving.
And the Foreign Secretary's comments were shockingly distorted by low-quality journalism. It is a cheat that journalists sometimes use of editing a text, editing a recording, and it was done to Roger Scruton by the New Statesman, and it's now been done to the Foreign Secretary. It's a very cheap level of journalism. It's not a proper way to behave. And he was absolutely clear that there are behaviours that mean you can't trade with people. And he said that if only people had bothered not to clip the recording unfairly, improperly, and broadly dishonestly. And I think we should look at that type of poor quality online journalism. It's not the sort of thing that would happen in the Times. May I conclude by having so much sympathy with what the Right Honourable Lady says and says every week about Nazanin, Anusha and Luke Simons, that they are being worked for by the Foreign Office in ways that it can. Luke Simons is particularly difficult, obviously. The Prime Minister spoke to the President of Iran recently about Nazanin. There is no excuse for the Iranian government holding her. She ought to be released. These trumped-up charges are improper, they are wrong, and they reflect on a regime that does not acknowledge the rule of law. And we should make clear that the fault lies with the Iranian government, not with Her Majesty's government.
Right. Point of order, Valerie Vaz.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm rising to make a point of order in relation to what the Leader of the House said earlier, and he may have inadvertently misled the House when he used words like cheat and edit the recording about something that I raised in relation to the Foreign Secretary. I've had this from the journalist in question and from the Huffington Post. We did not edit any recording passed to us and quoted it in full. Could I have your guidance on what the leader can do? If he's not prepared to repeat it outside, then he must withdraw it and apologise now. Otherwise, he's casting aspersions on the integrity of a journalist. Could I have your guidance, please, Mr.
Obviously, the point's been raised, and what I would say it's not for me to judge without that, but I'm sure the leader is here, and I look to see whether he wishes to respond, and that we can clear the matter up. Leader of the House.
Mr. Speaker, the Foreign Office has made it clear and has said, I quote, "We regret that this audio has been deliberately and selectively clipped to distort the Foreign Secretary's comments. As he made crystal clear in his full answer, the UK always stands up for and speaks out on human rights. In his full answer, in an internal meeting, he highlighted example where the UK has applied Magnitsky sanctions and raised issues at the UN regardless of trade interests, and that this was a responsible, targeted and carefully calibrated approach to bilateral relations. I repeat, we regret that this audio has been deliberately and selectively clipped. If the journalist didn't clip it himself, he ought to have known it was clipped. He is either a knave or a fool."
I think we're going to have to leave it there.